teams do that in competitive Vainglory in the past. It wouldn't be that much of a stretch, but I like this decision here from Nova, starting off by grabbing the Rona. This now almost forces the side of Vision Gaming to consider the Sky pickup, because if they don't take Sky with this pick, it's likely to get banned on the second rotation.
This is so risky though, because you're gonna pick the Sky that you can ban the Taka. So I think Nova bans the Sky now, so now Taka becomes a non-issue. But it would have been risky for Vision if they had picked the Sky for Nova. Like, I'm surprised Vision did not take the Sky. I think it would have been a safe pick, because then you could have banned the Taka. But then they pick Vox, which means now Sky will likely get banned right here. I think that's typically what you would expect, because that is a very good counter to the Rona pick.
Yeah, I mean, Vox does pretty well into the Rona. The Sky, I think, is a very strong pick into Rona, so I would expect a Sky ban here. It would make the most sense. They could go for something like a Churnwalker ban, just because Churnwalker is still available, and they may want to take that off the board. But, and the fact of, if they leave the Sky open, which they're not going to, and if it did get picked up, then all of a sudden there's no counter pick left, so to speak, even though you already have a couple of counters. So I think the Sky ban makes the most sense. I would almost anticipate a Churnwalker pick here for the side of Vision Gaming, just because it's available and it allows them to save their final pick in the jungle to be a counter. But we'll see where they decide to put their priority.
Well, they've got a lot of time. They haven't used any bonus time yet for this now, and very quickly picking up that Arden. So,
and that's actually fairly surprising to me. Obviously, the Arden Rona is a very strong duo, but Churnwalker with a Rona is incredibly strong as well. So now Churnwalker is available for Nova if they want to take it. I would be stunned if this Churnwalker does not get picked up here in this rotation for the side of Nova. If we go through this draft without Churnwalker getting picked up, I think that would just be a big mistake by really both of these teams at the end of the day. But we'll see if they do decide to grab this hero. Obviously, you have to think about, why was it left open? Are they leaving it open for a reason? And it looks like they think that they are. So Nova will go ahead and take this Grace instead of a Churnwalker as their captain. Most likely could end up seeing a carry Grace, but I highly doubt it with the Rona already being on the table.
Yeah, and because you have Vox picked here first, I think you don't have to worry about the Ringo pick, so I don't think you need to take it. Unless you really want to run Crystal Ringo. I think now it opens up. You could look at running
Samuel. Rona's your laner here. Rona is your laner 100%.
Absolutely. So you could run a Samuel. We know that Lone Delphi's a fantastic Samuel. I love the poke on Samuel. It's great at kiting, which you have to be pretty good at against that Vox. If you're worried about the risk of picking the Samuel, you could also go with the Baptiste. Or you could, again, you have a whole option of things that you could definitely run here in the jungle. I really think Nova's in a great spot so far. So far, I like their draft. They are going to pick the Taka. And again, the Assassin is a great option too. We've seen a Taka and Rona composition. Really, it was honestly Hazard who loved running this last season, and it was very effective back then.
Yeah, I mean, you have the burst damage of the Taka diving in, who can really benefit from the Grace protection as well. And then you just have Rona for that heavy sustained damage on top of it. When the team tries to chase down this Taka, they all of a sudden have to try and get through a Rona who's going to be dishing out a ton of damage. It's a composition that does work very well on paper. We'll see how the execution is here for Nova. And now Vision Gaming with the Arden and the Vox, it's a very kind of standard composition. There's not a whole lot, going on with this composition. It's not like there's a overarching strategy that you really look for when you have these two heroes. It's just very straightforward, and each person kind of doing their own thing individually. We'll see what they use to round out this composition. You want something that can deal with this Taka in the jungle, something that's not going to get bullied and harassed out of the jungle early on. Maybe something like a Rhyme could work here, going into the Grace and the Rona as well.
It's tricky, though. Those good Taka players know how to deal with that route.
It's tricky, and you also have to worry about the Immortal Wounds, and it is going to be an Alpha. Alpha can actually do really well against Taka. It's kind of a matchup that just comes down to, who just happens to get the last hits. It's a very even matchup when it comes to the head-to-head, and it's just when it comes to the clearing speed, Alpha has a very slight edge if played perfectly, but Taka, because of that movement speed, he can get through the jungle very quickly as well.
This is a great draft for Nova. I think they're going to be taking this game number 3, pushing us to a 4th game because, I do love the alpha pick here at the end. I just think overall they could easily get really pushed back. You know, you look at what Taka can do and Rhoda can do when they jump into a fight, they could just blow you up. And early on, if Nova plays their comp correctly, I think they could easily take this lead. And we haven't really seen Nova do a good job at taking a strong early lead. And that's something we need to see them do. If they can accomplish that, and I think this composition should help them accomplish that, we should be in good shape to have a Nova victory here and moving on to a 4th game.
Well, we'll find out in the next 15 to 25 minutes or so here, Dragon Warnings. We are on to the Halcyon Fold for game number 3 of this best of 5 semifinal. Nova, as we mentioned, behind the 8 ball a bit, down 2-0 on the A side, and Vision Gaming on the B side, going to be looking to close this one out.
Yeah, no surprises thus far, except that we do see Taka building the double weapon blade. I wouldn't call that a surprise. We see these assassin junglers who go Aftershock first. Aftershock's kind of a cheaper item, so you can kind of risk buying those 2 weapon blades just to get that early clear. And really, that's what we talked about. If you're Nova, you want that early lead as fast as possible.
Yeah, it's about the early clear and the early fight. Keep in mind, when in a level 1, level 2 skirmish, having better auto attacks is actually a little bit stronger than having some slightly better abilities that are going to be on cooldown after you use them initially. So the double weapon blade to start off, it's all about this early game. Like you mentioned, you see the Treant is going to get started up. Who's going to commit to fighting this is the question. In the last couple games, we've seen Nova back away from this Treant, but this time they know that they have a strong level 1, level 2. They want to go for this fight. There's going to be the hard engage. The Treant does go to Eco, but now who's going to get the first blood? Delphi is very, very low. He does not have the healing flask. He is going to fall, but it's traded 1-for-1. First kill actually went to FPG, but he is going to fall as well. Healing flask also popped for Eco. Kaz and Shaded want to try and chase that down, but aren't going to be able to find the kill. FPG did not use his healing flask, but neither did Shaded Talent or Kaz. So now, all of a sudden, with that 2-for-1, Vision Gaming, they can actually take a little bit of this jungle away.
Yeah, they are in a great shape already, getting this early game lead. We talked about Nova with this comp needing to get the early game, and they're really struggling, Tasty, to find the leverage here to, they go in, when they avoid the Elder Treant, it just gives a Vision a bigger Goldie. When they try to go after it, they can't manage the team fight well enough to come out on top. So, I mean, it's not a huge deal. This is early, and again, there's so many more fights in the next few minutes that will probably take place that will give Nova a chance to take that early game lead that we've talked about. But right now, Vision in this series have been so good, and there's another Elder Treant. Oh, I'm sorry, that was Lone Delphi picking up that Elder Treant. So, a good look for him to find that and a recall, which will allow him to go back, get some items, and be pretty strong for the next team fight. Kaz had gone back as well, so you see he is sitting with a chronograph and that Eclipse Prism.
Yeah, and even though those first 2 kills were at almost the same time, FPG actually did get the first blood credit. So when you look up at the scoreboard, it is actually a gold advantage for the side of Nova at the moment. So they're not going to be too upset with the way that early game went, even though they did lose out on the trade 2-for-1. They did not fall behind in gold. In fact, they have the lead in gold, but you need to see this lead really start to blossom if you're the side of Nova. Lone Delphi needs to be aggressive and find opportunities in the enemy jungle here through the first 4 minutes. He has not been able to do so. He's just been focusing on just keeping his farm up, getting these Elder Treants. That is going to get you a lead, but it's not going to get you that massive advantage that we know Taka really wants to end up having going into the mid game.
Absolutely. Kaz on this alpha, though, he is going to be someone to watch this game. As we've seen Alpha, specifically Vision, play Alpha very competently, but Alpha being a huge game changer. Right when you think you might have the fight secured, a great Prime Directive comes in and just ruins your hopes and dreams. And the damage comes out when you're bunched together. And Rona, Taka, they're typically going to be bunched together. You almost have to be cautious about maybe baiting out the Prime Directive early in the fight, because you just don't want to give that damage over
The other
Cause.
thing that's going to be really important with Kaz on this alpha is the timing of when he goes into the reboot. Because if Taka uses both his Chitin and his X-Retsu, he doesn't have really any other damage that he can provide to take a rebooting alpha down. You're relying entirely on FPG and Eco, and the two of them, I don't know if they're going to have enough damage to get a rebooting alpha dead before she does finish that reboot. And so if those two abilities from Taka are on cooldown when the reboot starts, more often than not, Kaz is going to get back to his feet and have a new life to try and take out members of Nova.
Prime Directive actually goes in here, Tasty. Again, look how much damage.
He's actually ends up coming out a little bit worse for wear, though. Kaz not really able to trade that much damage onto FPG. FPG with the Serpent's Mask already completed will be able to heal up quite effectively. Meanwhile, PvP Warrior, he gets jumped on and loses about half of his health. But again, with a Poison Shiv, he's going to be able to heal back up eventually, unless Taka goes in hard on him. Again, those mortal wounds playing a role against this Vox. It can do a lot of damage. It's going to be a nice Holy Nova finding a double stun. Kaz in trouble, doesn't get the ultimate off, and he's going to go down as the X-Retsu comes through to secure the kill. That's what we were talking about.
One thing that's been interesting is seeing how effective Rhoda is into Alpha that first fight. I mean, once you see that red mist come out, Rhoda just builds up. She's already got the Serpent's Mask. She's going to build up that health. She's going to be able to sustain that damage, even the burst damage coming out from the Alpha.
Oh, PvP Warrior, he wanted to get a kill there, but
so
close. Go a little bit too far. Delphi jumps on in, but can't secure the kill. Instead, Warrior will back out. Kaz has gotten up here to try and help defend this lane and make sure that the turret doesn't really take too much damage at all. And so, Nova, though, they're the ones that are finding the upper hand in these trades. They're the ones that are finding the damage for now, and this is looking good in the first 6 minutes for them.
One thing that's been interesting, and I just want to point it out, Eco, he's been pretty much the only support we've seen in the last couple series to just forego that defense contract, because he really kind of just focusing on early and getting to that fountain as quickly as possible. I'm not sure if it's been the right call. We've seen early on Visions actually outperform Nova in the early game, and a lot of that's been shaded talent, always buying the Protector contract for each of these 3 games, where Eco's really chosen not to go that route. And when we talk about how important the early game is, you have to imagine that might be something that Nova will look at as a potential factor, because they've really struggled these fights. I mean, they haven't been able to win the early game, oftentimes forgoing it, but in this game, they did try to contest that early tree, and it just didn't work.
Well, right now, Nova are the ones with the lead, so they're feeling pretty confident. They jump on in. A lot of burst damage, but again, with the Vanguard stopping a lot of that damage from coming through, PvP Warrior will be okay, especially as he gets the healing from the Poison Shiv, healing him on up as he gets those last hits. But now they try and make a play onto this Treant. They do get the steal, Lone Delphi taking that one away from Kaz. That's just, again, the more gold you can steal from your enemy, the better off you're going to be. The CS numbers are very even in the jungle, but in the lane, you can see the effects of this damage pressure Nova's been able to put on the PvP Warrior. He has fallen behind by about 15 CS at this point.
Rona is a very difficult hero to lane against if you don't have the damage and range. You could see in both game 1 and this game, granted they were opposite teams, now Nova has the Rhoda, but Rhoda was really aggressive in the lane, keeping that lane pushed all the way up into the face of Nova in game 1. In this game, you're seeing the Rhoda pushing this fight. FPG doing a great job keeping that lane pushed up in the face of Vision. And that does buy you a lot. It helps you start working away the first turret. It allows you to, rotate the jungle a little bit easier. You can see this actually has kept Kaz at a disadvantage slightly. He's only down by a few CS. But, just overall damage here, you can see, great rotation by Nova, catching Kaz out again.
Vision Gaming trying to answer, but oh my goodness, Kaz just got chunked down again, falling without using his ultimate and just getting taken out. Meanwhile, though, in the lane, PvP Warrior
you might find
have that time bought for him, but his going to be first turret traded for Kaz's life.
And he's going to get out.
This is just the way Vision Gaming play. They say, you know what? You can make a play in our jungle. We're going to make something happen elsewhere on the map while you do so. The trade there was a life and a sentry, as members of Nova did stick around and take the Crystal Sentry away. But PvP Warrior able to find that first turret, keeps this gold at least fairly close. It is about a 2k gold lead, though, that Nova has been able to build up, largely just on CS alone.
Vision, they do need to be careful here. I love how they've managed to deal with objectives this entire series. It really is impressive, and it's one of those things that you kind of expect from a more veteran team. And while it's easy to look at Vision as a newcomer to the top tier teams, they are veteran in the sense they've been playing together. They've been playing in and out competitively in Vainglory and near the top, at least the top of challengers, for a very long time. And they're showing that maturity in this series. Again, not worried about giving over a kill lead if it means they can come with the net gain.
They find everyone, but that's going to be... There's finally the ultimate getting used by Kaz, but it's just being used defensively to get to the safety of this turret as they tried to start a fight there, but just the rest of the team was not ready. And so Kaz, once again, going to be losing out a lot from this jungle. The Crystal Sentry gets defeated once again by Nova. Kaz wants to try and make sure he can get this Treant, but Lone Delphi has other ideas. And he steals that one away. FPG takes the back doubles. And this is just Kaz really getting punished heavily in this jungle. Now PvP Warrior wants to rotate, see if he can help his team out. But without the Alpha Ultimate, I just don't think they really want to try and commit to this fight here. And it may not matter as, oh my goodness, Nova... They're going to commit to this fight for Vision as they try and kite them up to the turrets. Somehow, Kaz is able to stay alive for just a little bit longer. Wasn't long enough, though. FPG is low, tanking up that turret. Everyone down to about a third health, but can PvP Warrior actually finish them off? Doesn't have a Sonic Zoom available, and it's going to end up being walking into all three members as the heals come through from Eco. They find a second kill, and Nova are just getting themselves the kills. And now they're the ones that seem to be maybe baiting out the members of Vision.
Yeah, really good play by Nova there. And you saw how low they were, and you thought maybe that was risky waiting the tri-bush, but they've got so much life steal. You've got the aftershock, you've got the serpent smash. Both those items provide life steal. And when you are able to surprise PvP like he did, Shaded Talon's barrier is just not going to be enough. Great job sticking together and identifying the fact that PvP, face checking that bush there was not the right call.
And again, when you have to just kind of weigh what you have available to you in that fight. If PvP Warrior has a Sonic Zoom available, then yeah, go for that fight. Look for those kills, but he didn't have it available. By the time it was up again, the Resonance had already worn off of all three targets of Nova, and so it just ends up being you have to blindly face check that brush, and then you see the end result there. The biggest thing for me this game, though, is just Kaz has been shut down very hard. He does finally have his second tier 3 offensive item in that Dragon's Eye, and there is going to be an Echo coming out for Shaded Talent now with these gauntlets, but if Kaz is just getting every single fight, he has just been blown up right at the start. He has not been able to use his ultimate offensively once this entire game. Only once has he even gotten the ultimate off, and that was just to get himself underneath the turret. Now Nova, they're just putting pressure onto this turret. Shaded Talent needs to turn and help his team try and find this fight if they're going to look for anything here. But it looks like they don't want to commit to anything, and Nova, they're more than happy just kind of resetting and now looking for the pressure once again, once they feel comfortable. Whoa. A great triple stun on the gauntlet. Is it going to be enough, though? The heal's already been used by Eco. Meanwhile, there's the second heal coming out. So both heals now down. Can Vision Gaming look for this now? They have a lot of reset and a lot of damage being done. Eco is out of this fight, and they want to try and chase someone, but they just can't get onto any of these targets. A beautiful, beautiful gauntlet from Shaded Talent to start that fight off, but just no one ends up falling in the end, and it just ends up being a wash.
Unbelievable. Kaz, dropping very low, but Shaded Talent was probably the best gauntlet placement we've seen all tournament long. I mean, we've seen some good gauntlets too, Tasty. That one was perfect. The second one was more about just keeping the whole team locked up in there as PvP started to put on more breaking point stacks. I think they were kind of hoping that maybe Nova would think about continuing that fight. Nova, on the other hand, they just wanted to get out of there. They realized after that first gauntlet that they didn't quite have the same. Now, they are getting this gold miner here, but again, Vision slowing down the momentum from Nova. We'll see if that lasts.
Stun on the Shaded Talent and Vision Gaming. They don't have the resources available. Gauntlet is not up for another 30 seconds, and they are just getting decimated in this fight thus far. Kaz, you have to use that ultimate soon. He does get the ultimate off, and will get some good damage off through it, but he's not going to be able to reboot. It's all up to PvP Warrior, but he has no help from his captain. He's just going to get chased down and taken out. Shaded Talent will recall and prevent the ace from going through, but this Crystal Sentry will be eliminated, and Nova are completely in control of this game as we hit the 15-minute mark.
Yeah, it's a huge stark contrast to where we saw Nova the first two games. They're playing with a much better step. They're doing more damage. A lot of this is due to the Rhoda. I mean, you have no Black Feather in the enemy team, so you don't have quite the level of the power pick play like Nova has. So I think right out of the draft, they had the advantage, and it looked a little shaky at first, but they have started to show that they can win this game here piece by piece. The Taka play, I like how Delphi's been playing it. It's not been a huge factor. It's really been all about Rona in this matchup, but it is important.
Yeah, it's been a lot about Rona, but Lone Delphi has done a phenomenal job of making sure that Kaz is not having the level of impact that the side of Vision need him to have with this alpha. Every single time a fight has started, Lone Delphi immediately dives onto Kaz, makes sure that he does not get to stick around in these fights for long, has to think about using that ultimate very early in these trades, and it ends up with a situation where, yes, Kaz has the 2 kills for the team, but he also has 4 of these deaths and has just not been able to be a significant factor or a significant threat to the members of Nova. As well, here comes Delphi. First Gauntlet's going to come down. Doesn't really do much, and instead it's going to be just melting through Kaz's health. Does get the ultimate off. Will get a lot of damage and will take out Lone Delphi in the process. So that's finally a really, really great use of the Alpha Ultimate, and 2 kills now for Vision, somehow turning that fight around.
But that was completely due to that. And another incredible gauntlet by Shaded Talent. This guy is insane on Arden. Tasty, I mean, if you're 3-man stunning or putting gauntlets like that every single time, you've got to take Arden away from Shaded Talent. You cannot give this over to him. He is showing everybody how to land these. Those are some of the cleanest gauntlets we've seen. And a Kraken going over to Vision, they are looking to push this game back in their favor.
And that is a big turnaround moment for Vision Gaming. If they can ride this wave of momentum, we'll see how much work they can get done. These gauntlets, like you mentioned, have been absolutely incredible from Shaded Talent, allowing Kaz to finally get some damage out in a team fight. And if they can just, that's all they need to do. If they can pop one of these members using this alpha, then they can turn these team fights in their favor. It was also a bit of a misplay by Eco, not being able to prevent the stun so he could get the heals out when needed. But these team fights, when they get very messy, Vision Gaming always seem to know how to navigate. Right now, we see ramping up on this breaking point for PvP Warrior. Here comes the Gauntlet. It's going to split up the team a little bit. Eco walks into the wall as he comes through the damage. They kill Eco right off the bat. And that is a big, big moment for Vision. If they can continue to push with this Kraken, they're going to get this tier 3 turret. We'll see if they can find another kill. They may be able to look to end this game, but they are going to be trying to get Taka. Yeah. He's going to be able to get onto the Sanctuary and healed up. So they're not going to be able to finish the game here, but that is a big push that they just earned. PvP Warrior might be going down,
I think,
but he's got, they're going to be happy just trading that. Meanwhile, Kraken still working on this turret and will actually get it almost down before finally falling. But what a big turnaround for Vision Gaming. Lone Delphi still looking to get this kill onto Shaded Talent. Should be able to get it, but now Kaz has entered the fight and is going to look to make this a trade at least. But I don't know if he wants to really go into this 1v1, knowing that the rest of Nova could be around the corner. He doesn't hit the Prime Directive, and that should be the end of that. So Lone Delphi, he's just going to go for the jungle camps.
No, really good job by Lone Delphi. I mean, I think that you identify the fact you could get a kill. I don't think he was expecting to get the second kill, but he did. He stuck with it. Because of that, they're going to get another turret. And it's not going to be quite even, but it is going to keep Nova in this matchup. Again, they were dominating early on, and a really nice comeback from Vision to try to even this up. When you look at gold, it's still Nova's game, but that was a very, very big push out of Vision.
Yeah, really strong push. And like you said, definitely goes a long way towards evening this game back up. Even though the gold deficit is still pretty massive that Vision Gaming are facing, able to get that strong of a push, which means if they get one more fight like that, if they could end this game. So Nova cannot get complacent. They cannot feel comfortable with the lead that they still currently have.
They've got to be careful here. This is their matchup to win. And, we talked about getting to game number 4. It would be huge for Nova. They could easily reverse sweep this series. It's just a matter of, playing the full game from beginning to end at all phases. With second Kraken coming up, it could go either way, as Nova does look to go in for this fight.
And they're looking to try and engage a lot of damage as getting done. The gauntlet is going to force members to move through, and that's going to be a kill onto Vox right the side of Nova.
Huge.
That is not good for Vision. They now have to run. They don't really have much that they can do to try and turn this one around. Kaz can use the Prime Directive just to get out. The gauntlet over the wall will stun too. In Shaded Talents attempts to get out of that fight. Kraken should be free for Nova to take at this point with a 2-on-3 situation. And Vision Gaming just going to have to try and minimize their losses.
Yeah, I agree. You don't want to contest the Kraken. It is going to be a really strong push out of Nova. And so, while it looked like Vision had some momentum there after the first Kraken take, Nova here should be able to, at the very least, get one turret and even that up. Although I think with the Taka and with the Rhoda comp, you have the sustain to outlast a couple turrets. Maybe even take all the turrets out. We'll have to see. This is really, Vision might have to be a little bit more aggressive before they let Nova and the Kraken get down into that sanctuary.
Yeah, we'll see. Right now they're working on just getting some damage onto this Kraken, but here comes Taka jumping on in. Attack slow out onto the members of Vision Gaming, but that has been reset now, so they can maybe look for a fight onto Delphi as he dives in deep, getting some good damage out there. Rona spinning as well, but Eco has everything available. This is going to be risky. Vision Gaming, they really want to just focus on this Kraken as much as they can and try and take that down. Maybe get a little bit of damage here and there, but for the most part, you need to just focus on taking this Kraken out. They're trying to just keep Nova at bay so that Nova doesn't go diving for these turrets and they don't lose as much. Again, minimizing the losses. That's what it's all about right now for Vision, and they are going to save that turret just by the skin of its teeth and can now look to try and regroup.
Yeah, no, that's huge for Nova. I mean, we did save at least one turret. I thought they could get that second one, but it looks like Nova did want to play as aggressive, but they've evened this game up here. They still have the gold lead. As we approach 41, 42k, it becomes less of a factor. You could see Kaz, he's really now just building out one last defensive item, and then just looking to probably infuse. You see PvP is at max build. So everyone's pretty much getting to max build, even though you have that nice gold lead. The big difference here is going to be, Kaz is going to be about, does it look like, yeah, he still has his healing flask, so he's still one item away from, matching up here with Lone Delphi. You're seeing only tier 1 boots on Lone Delphi, so he's got a little bit there, but damage-wise, the Taka is at max build.
A little curious that Eco, I think he's just saving up for another, I think he's saving up for an infusion, but he has an empty inventory slot and doesn't have it filled with Vision. That's going to be a gauntlet, comes down, does get blocked out nicely, but Taka is the target for Vision Gaming. If they get another gauntlet down, that keeps the rest of the team away. The heal comes through onto the Taka that keeps Lone Delphi alive. Vox has fallen, and this could very well be the game. Once Kaz goes down, this will be the game. There's nothing that Kaz can do to try and turn this, as he is going to fall in this rebooting state. And with 2 kills, even though Shaded Talent prevents the ace, there's not really anything he's going to be able to do to stop the members of Nova from marching into this base, destroying these turrets, and pushing us to a fourth game.
Wow, this is a good job by Nova. It was shaky. They've looked a little shaky this series, but a win is all they needed here. Now they can look on to the next fight, the next victory here, as they look to maybe push this. We could go to a game 5. Nova has all of the pieces in place to make that happen. I mean, this is a very talented roster. There's no doubt about it. But Vision's, even in this win, Vision's shown that they can still go toe to toe with this team. And I would say this is a lot more like what we saw possibly in game one, where